If you are working in spiritual practices, you may be doing work towards letting go of your ego, even potentially killing your ego, as some people say. And in that form, maybe letting go of your body, letting go of your form. And that's definitely work. It's not an easy process. It's easier to do by coming into meditation, using meditation as a practice of seeing there is a stillness that exists beyond your body, beyond your ego, beyond your name, and beyond the story that has gone along in your life, the one you've identified with your whole life. There are many ways to kind of play with this. Something I've realized recently is I had a picture sent to me by my mom. And it was a picture of her and her friend Sandy. And I looked at it for a few minutes on my phone. And then something told me to turn the phone upside down. And I did, and looked at the picture and looked at the images of Sandy and Mom upside down. And I very quickly could not recognize them. They didn't look like people anymore. They were forms, but color and shape, shadow. And it was no longer two people on the picture. It was just color, form, shape, and shadow. And it was a great indicator that perspective really does shape the way we're seeing the world. I see bodies across from me, and I've known the way they've looked my whole life as being upright in this position, and that's a body, that's a person. But by seeing them upside down or looking at them from another angle, I no longer identify them as that. Try it at home, see what you think. Turn a phone upside down or a picture upside down, and see if you can still recognize a picture of your mother or your father or a sibling. There's something to that. Well, I think that playing with this stuff can only help us to be more aware that we aren't just these bodies and we aren't just these stories that we're being told. Another way to do this would to be slowing down in the process of daily activities, something like eating. When we slow down and really have gratitude for a meal before we eat it, for instance. Maybe you grew up in a household where you used to say prayers. I certainly did. But I never really gave the food enough time. I never thanked the animals or the plants that I was about to eat, or had gratitude for that. I did thank God very quickly, but I never really took the time to look backwards and see where the source of all this had come from. A teacher that I recently come across gave me information about how to practice eating with awareness. Her name is Jan Chosen Bays. And some of her practices have been incredibly insightful. One of them being taking an element of your food, and working backwards from that piece of food and all the hands that got that food to your table, from the server that brought it to your table, to the cook that prepared it, to the team that brought it to the cook, to the delivery team that brought it to the restaurant, from the delivery team that got it from the distribution center from the farmer from who he bought the seeds from, and so on and so forth. There could be hundreds of people involved with just the single meal on your plate, depending on how many items are there, how many ingredients are involved there. So by going backwards in time, there's certainly gratitude that comes along, and awareness that comes with that gives you an idea of how that food got there and what it really means to be able to have that food in front of you and then to place it into your body. And that being said, the idea of disconnecting, that there is a separation between you and that food, that energy is being put into energy, or that it's God putting God into God, or that it's consciousness and its contents all in one. And so having that awareness around that can really give us a sense of presence. And for me, it works in that way now that I'm trying to practice with that. The other thing that Jan has brought to my attention is this concept of placing the utensil back down. So before I begin to eat, going through the practice of moving backwards through each element of the food and how it got to me. Maybe just one piece, otherwise I'd be there all night before I ate. But beginning to eat the food, I pick up the utensil and I take a bite of a salad and place the fork back down and completely finish the bite of salad in my mouth, being with the flavor and the taste and the change of the texture and where it goes, how my tongue is moving it around, how my teeth are chomping down, how it's swallowing in, and then where it goes, it disappears into the nothingness. There's so many elements about how we can see this entire experience. The idea of putting food in here and it disappearing into my throat and disappearing away. From out there, you can see that I'm eating something, but from my place of the first person, as I put food into my mouth, it goes into here and it disappears into the nothingness that I am. It's just these great ways of changing the concept of eating, for instance, to see with presence how every moment of our life gives us an opportunity to have that awareness. So now I'm God, putting God into God, and God is disappearing into the nothingness that I am. Something to play with and to think about. I appreciate you thinking about it with me, and I will see you next time for more mindfulness. I'm Josh. Talk to you soon.